Greetings aspirants, welcome to Narayana IAS. This is Karthik Moni, I'm here for daily news analysis. For today's session, I have picked up 5 important articles from Hindu as well as Indian Express. The first article is about the Supreme Court's judgment on Jammu and Kashmir's special status, and second article is about the crypto asset intermediaries, and third article is about a case study of Odisha related to the climate resilient agriculture. And fourth article is about a scheme, Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat. And finally, we are going to discuss about Global River Cities Alliance. It was led by India in COP28 summit. Coming to the first article, we are going to discuss the recent Supreme Court verdict in upholding the repeal of Jammu and Kashmir's special status. So here, this judgment is important for 3 aspects. One is that the full integration of Jammu and Kashmir. Yes, the full integration was validated by the judiciary, first thing. Second aspect, the implications of this judgment on federal spirit, that is the second dimension. Third dimension, we have to know about the implication of this judgment on expanding the scope of parliament, central government to alter the statehood. So 3 dimensions which we have to know. So previously there was a question in 2016 related to the Article 370. So in that, the UPSC wanted to know about how far this provision is temporary in nature, and also they wanted us to write the future prospects of this provision. Coming to the context, Supreme Court unanimously upheld the power of President to abrogate the special status of Jammu and Kashmir under Article 370 of the Constitution. Yes, so here the Supreme Court judgment validated few things, and also it directed the center to do few things. So validation, first validation is abrogation of the 370. As a whole, it validated the abrogation. Second aspect, especially with respect to the Jammu and Kashmir Restoration Bill 2019, it validated the reorganization of Ladakh into Union Territory. Ladakh to Union Territory was validated. And second aspect, removal of privileges. Yes, previously Jammu and Kashmir used to have special privileges. They used to have separate constitutional assembly and also separate flag, separate anthem, and also special privileges to the residents. Those things are there. So the bill repealed the privileges, and the repealing of such privileges was validated by the Supreme Court. So 3 validation. Abrogation of 370 was validated, conversion of Ladakh into Union Territory was validated, and repealing the special privileges was validated. So it also directed few things. So Supreme Court ordered the center government to restore the statehood. That set the deadline of September 30, 2024. So before September 30, 2024, the center government have to restore the statehood to the Jammu and Kashmir. So it highlighted that the conversion of state into union territory is nothing but denial of the electoral states government to the citizens. So democracy will get affected, and also apart from the democracy, it will also affect the federal spirit. So this is what highlighted in the judgment. So the Supreme Court directed the center to restore the statehood for the Jammu and Kashmir. And as a final note, it also directed the Justice Kaul argued to set up a Truth and Reconciliation Committee to investigate and report on the violations of the human rights. Yes, 3 validation on one side and 2 directions. So first direction, restoring the statehood for the Jammu and Kashmir, and then second direction, setting up the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. So this is the context of the judgment. So from this judgment, we have to know the lapses, implications, and also the criticisms. So now we have to know about how it is done. Why we have to know how it is done? Because yes, substantially the intent wise it is good. Final output wise it is good. Yes, the full integration of the state to the rest of the India happened, and it is validated because of the judgment. It is true. But there is another dimension called procedure. procedural point of wise, there is a huge lapse. There is a huge bypass in abrogating the Article 370. So, President passed the constitutional order on August 5, 2019. That is Jammu and Kashmir Restoration Bill 2019. So, in this bill, it came up with the provision that the whole of constitution will applicable to the Jammu and Kashmir. So, previously this was not there. So, few provisions of the constitutions was not applicable to the Jammu and Kashmir. So, that was the provision previously. But by invoking the presidential order, the applicability of whole constitution to the Jammu and Kashmir was made. First event. Second event, by making this provision, they changed some definition. So especially we have to think from the perspective of Article 370. So in the Article 370 explicitly mentioned that any changes between the relation between Jammu and Kashmir and the center, it has to be done with the views of Constitutional Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. Constitutional Assembly. So here what they did, they changed the word Constitutional Assembly to State Legislature. So in this aspect, by changing the definition, they gave the power to change this relationship to the president. Right? So what they did later, they invoked the presidential rule under Article 356. So they dissolved the Legislative Assembly by imposing Article 356. So now the powers of state legislature will be transferred to the president. So by transferring this power, they abrogated the Article 370. So here, procedure aspect, there is a gross violation. But still, Supreme Court upheld the abrogation because of following reasons. So these are the reasons. The president had the power to take non-legislative actions during the imposition of president rule under Article 356 if special circumstances warrant a special solution. So, by citing this provision, Supreme Court justified that yes, so invoking Article 356 and transferring the power to president is possible and it is validated. And it can be done for non-legislative actions as well. This is what the justification, first justification given by the Supreme Court. And also it cited the SR Bommai case. So it cited that the presidential action can be questioned only if the intention is malified in nature and palpably irrational in nature. It cited the judgment of SR Bommai case. So, this is an additional validation given by the Supreme Court. And second aspect, it highlighted that this process happened in a gradual manner. So, culmination of Article 360 was done with the gradual and collaborative exercise. Because we had this provision for past 70 years and this Article 370 guides the relationship between the Jammu and Kashmir and the center for past 70 years. So, it is not taken or the abrogation was not done as a sudden measure, it was a gradual measure. And third argument is that the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir did not retain any element of sovereignty when it joined the Union of India. So, this was another argument. So, it doesn't have any sovereign power. It is not a sovereign state because in the instrument of accession, it mentioned that the king, Hari Singh, is having the sovereign power with respect to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. But later, when the Yuvraj Karan Singh ascended the throne, he fully surrendered the sovereignty of Jammu and Kashmir to the India. Sovereign state of India. So, sovereignty of the state is also not there. So, that is the third argument presented by the Supreme Court. And finally, the recommendation of the State Legislative Assembly under Article 3 is not binding in nature. Yes, consultation with the state should be there, but it doesn't mean that the viewpoints of the state has to be taken into account in reshaping the state. So, The Supreme Court cited these arguments as a validation or a justification to uphold the abrogation. With respect to the Article 370, it cited that the article itself mentioned that it is a temporary provision, and also this Article 370 has to be viewed from the lens of asymmetric federalism, not from the strategic autonomy point of view and not from the sovereignty point of view. So it is just another state which is having some extra special provision. So that is the interpretation of Article 370 given by the Supreme Court. And also the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir was only to define the relationship between the state and the union government. And apart from that, the Supreme Court extended the interpretation of Article 370. The Constitutional Assembly is having the mandate to decide on reshaping the relationship, yes, but this can be interpreted in such a way that it can be interpreted as the viewpoints of state legislature. If it is interpreted as the viewpoint of state legislature, then the power can be transferred to the president. So in this aspect, in having a different viewpoint, the president can unilaterally exercise the power. Abrogation of Article 370. And finally, the dissolution of the constitution is already, we don't have a constitutional assembly of the state now. So it was dissolved in 1950s itself. So this, we don't want to carry forward this provision, and this provision has to be interpreted in a different way. So this was the justification given by the Supreme Court. Now we have to know the criticism. The first aspect is subversion of the federal principles. So here this judgment validated, upheld the Parliament's power that while if the state is under president rule, it can do any act and even one with the irreversible consequences, which means it is directly affecting the federal spirit of the Constitution, and it validated the increase in the power scope of center and the Parliament. That is the first dimension. Second dimension, this is the first time Article 3 was used to downgrade a state to union territory. And finally, the S.R. Bommai judgment, it is known for the upholding the federal principle, was used to weaken the federal principle. So that is there. Three aspects. So second thing is that lack of appreciation. Here there is a lack of appreciation of the historical context. And finally, it undermines the constitutional procedures. First thing is that the abrogation of special status was done without involving any elected representatives from the Jammu and Kashmir. Yes, the democratic principle is getting affected. And finally, violation of Article 3. So in the Article 3, it mentioned that the consultation with the state should be there. So consultation, the seat for consultation was there in Article 3, but that was violated and that was bypassed by invoking presidential order. Next, we have an article related to the crypto asset intermediaries. So the title is that what are Financial Stability Board's concerns about crypto asset intermediaries. So exam point of view, we can expect questions in two dimensions. One is about direct question related to the Financial Stability Board, that is possible. And apart from that, we can expect some mains related questions related to the concerns in the crypto asset intermediaries. That is also possible. So previously in 2016, we had two questions. So one is about the Global Financial Stability Reports released by which organization? That's the first question. And second question, with reference to the Financial Stability and Developmental Council, consider the following statements. So they wanted us to find the correct options, right? So we had two questions related to this topic. So especially whenever we are getting articles related to financial stability, so we can expect such questions in the examination, right? So that's why we are discussing this article. Coming to the context, recently the Financial Stability Board released a report on 28th November 2023, the financial stability implications of multi-function crypto asset intermediaries. So based on this context, we are going to discuss this article. So based on this context, we have to know about the institution. the Financial Stability Board we have to know, and apart from that, what is mean by MCI, that is multi-function crypto asset intermediaries. We have to know about what is mean by MCI, what are the challenges which we are facing, then we have to know about what we have to do to address these challenges, right? So coming to the first aspect, Financial Stability Board. So it is established in 2009 by G20 nations. Yes, it is relatable 2009, which means this institutional mechanism was created after the subprime crisis. So we faced one problem. The problem of global financial instability was there during 2009. So we came to know that we need such institutional mechanism to assess the risk of global instability. For that, G20 nations came up with the Financial Stability Board. So the role of this institution is to promote the reforms of international financial regulations and supervisions. They will assess the global instability related risk, and then they will suggest reforms. They'll come up with financial regulations, and also they wanted the governments to make supervision mechanism to prevent such risks, right? So in this aspect, this institution help us to promote the international financial stability. So prelims point, we can expect one question on FSB, that is possible. And second aspect, we have to know about multi-function crypto asset intermediaries. First, we have to know about the definition. So in India, we have exchanges, stock market exchanges. We have National Stock Market Exchange, and then we have Bombay Stock Exchange. We have two different exchanges. In that, it is allowed, the investors are allowed to trade on equities, options, commodities. So many products are there, right? Similarly, these multi-function crypto asset intermediaries are also the firms or companies which offers a range of crypto-based services and products and functions which primarily revolves around operating of trading platforms. Yes, like Bombay Stock Exchange, we have a stock market platform, we have that. So in that, the investors are allowed to trade the products. So similarly, this MCI is used, or it is giving the service to the investors to trade crypto related assets, right? So we have the examples such as we have Binance is there, we have Coin Stock is there, and also we have Bitfin exchange is there. So there are several examples. So these are some of the examples of MCA, right? So now we have to know about the concerns faced by the such intermediaries, right? The first problem is lack of operational transparency. So here, operational transparency, the word, it means that exchange of information regarding the risk control measures, the exchange has to give, has to be transparent, and they have to give such communication to the investors regarding risk control measures, and also regarding the volume of the trade, and regarding the fees and charges, and also regarding the financial health and the safety of exchange. So in giving such communication, there is a lack of transparency. It was not the exchanges, the MCIs are not actively communicating those informations to the investors. So that is the first problem. The second problem is the existence of corrupt practices. Yes, recently one of the MCI indulged in the corrupt practice of misleading the investors by giving a wrong risk control measures, and also they inflated the traded volume also. So similar kind of corrupt practices is also there. Apart from that, there is a problem of conflict of interest. So here we know that the exchanges, right, they used to give the platform to trade the crypto assets, right? So which means the institution used to have some sensitive information about the investments and demand and supply, right? There is a possibility that this sensitive information will be misused by the insider. So these institutions have to come up with measures to reduce such insider manipulation. right? This is very much important. So risk management practices, the existence of poor risk management practices, there is a possibility of creating artificial demand and supply that will ultimately lead to the collapse of such exchanges. So recently there is an instance that DTF collapse. So bankruptcy of the crypto exchange in Bahamas country is one such example. It happened in 2022. So the collapse of such exchange, there is a possibility of spillover effect. Even though the effect on global stability, its effect on financial stability of global level is comparatively low. Whereas we can expect that this can have a spillover effect on the nation's economy. That is one thing. And also it will affect the confidence of the investors. So as of now, we are slowly, the investors are getting confidence to invest on cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, so and so, so and so there. But now, if we are facing such bankruptcy of such exchanges, it will erode the confidence of the investors. So that is a negative sign that we have to work it, right? So now we have to know about the way forward. So first one is awareness. So when it comes to the way forward, need of hour, we have to think from the two perspective. That is the service provider on one hand and then the investors on the other hand. So service provider point of view, we have to regulate, we have to create the guidelines for the strict regulation of service provider on one hand. And on the other side, consumer aspect, that is investor perspective, we have to give them more information about the functioning of such exchanges and the products. So awareness from the investors point of view, and also, so we already mentioned that there is a huge gap in the transparency, giving information about the functioning, fees, and also risk control measures, and also information related to the volume of the trades. So this information gap has to be filled by ensuring that the proper standards, by bringing proper standards for disclosure and reporting mechanism. And also we have to enhance the cross-border cooperation, and also we have to bring consensus between the countries to have a standard guidelines, because the investment itself trans-border in nature. For that we need some coordination. We have to build consensus for the standard building, and also for the we have to build the consensus for the information sharing and reporting. And finally, we have to come up with the guidelines for meaningful separation. Yes, they are providing the trading platform services. Here, the revenue will be generated. The revenue for such exchange will be generated by charging some fees for the trading of the instruments and services. So here, clear differentiation of the service should be there. So they should not, the exchanges should not be allowed to invest in those products, because manipulation is possible. So such meaningful separation of giving service and also assuming itself as an investor, it should not be there. So clear separation between the functions of the service provider should be there. So otherwise it will lead to the manipulation of the demand and supply. It will lead to the bankruptcy of such exchanges. Coming to the next article, we have a case study. So the case study of Odisha's success in climate smart agriculture. So climate smart agriculture. So concept itself very important. So here climate smart agriculture involves three aspects. One is sustaining the agricultural productivity. Second one is creating resilience against climate related disaster. And finally, reducing the greenhouse gas emission from the agriculture. So these are the three major aspirations in terms of climate smart agriculture. So these three things we have to. So coming to the context, recently the COP28 is going on. So deliberations of climate change is happening in United Arab Emirates. So that is there. And here we are discussing the worsening impact of climate change. Here I have highlighted few concerns. So first one is increase in disaster. So it is projected that there is a possibility of increase in the disaster, that is the number can go up to 560 per year, that is 1.5 per day. So globally there is a possibility of increase in number of occurrences of disaster. So there is a possibility of occurrences of 1.5 disaster globally per day. That is possible. And there is a possibility of increase in hunger and malnutrition and are expected to grow by 20% if the climate change is not unchecked. And finally, we have to know about the food security point of view. Yes, the food productivity is expected to decline by 21% due to the global warming. So these are the major concerns which we have to know from the agricultural point of view. Disaster, yes, it affects the climate. Yes, agriculture is very important to maintain or to achieve the aspirations on health and nutrition. And finally, agriculture and food security point of view, because food production is very much important for the food security. So physical access point of view also we have to consider. So these are the concerns. Now we have to know about the learnings from Odisha. So first is that we have to know the achievements. So recently in 2022, the Odisha became a topper in the state ranking index for National Food Security Act. In second aspect, it transformed its most poverty-ridden district, that is Kalahandi district, and now it becomes a rice bowl of Odisha, right? So poverty-ridden land to be a rice bowl of Odisha. So that is the second achievement. Third achievement is that so it increased its agriculture. So previously Odisha was a net importer of rice. Now it is producing 13 million tons of grains in 2022. And finally, the contribution, the overall contribution for the FCI, it is contributing around 9% for the total rice in India. So when compared to the total contribution, Odisha itself is contributing 9% for the National Food Security Act contribution that was procured by the Food Corporation of India. So look at the achievements. Yes, it performed in the ranking and it transformed the most poverty-ridden district, and agriculturally it is performing well, and it is also grown to such an extent it can contribute to the national needs. So now we have to know the major changes made by the Odisha in the agriculture. First, they made some changes in crop planning. Second, they increased the productivity. And third, they focused more on small farmers. So concentration on planning, productivity, increasing the productivity, and then concentration on small farmers, right? So here the planning done at the district level, and they are considering, most importantly, they are considering the agroclimatic zones. The functional utility plans will be created by considering the agroclimatic zones, right? And also it is the planning is happening at the district level. The efficient utilization or implementation of the plan is possible. So first dimension. Second dimension, increasing the productivity. Yes, previously it was 10 quintals per hectare and now it is 27 quintals per hectare. So it has tripled its productivity over a period of time. That too in the short period, within the 2 decades, it has increased the productivity to the greater extent. And also concentration on the small farmers. So in this aspect, they wanted to strengthen the income level and creating resilient livelihood and also the food security. Because considering the needs of the small farmers is very much important to sustain the agriculture, right? So in order to sustain the productivity, we have to concentrate or we have to consider the needs and aspirations of small farmers. Sorry. Look at the map. So here the first line talks about the increase in the productivity. So the drastic increase in the rice yield per hectare led to the increase in the production. So food grain production in terms of metric ton also increased because of this increasing trend of productivity. So this is perceptible from the Odisha, right? So next we have to know about the interventions in the aspects of climate resilience. First, they came up with the plan. Yes, they are having the vision. Second, they have the schemes for the climate resilience. Third, they are using technology, crop weather watch. Yes, they are visionary. They came up with the climate resilient plan. So it was proactively developed as a comprehensive climate change action plan. So first of all, we have to know and we have to sensitize the problem of climate change. Then only we can able to make changes. Yes, vision is there. And second aspect, they came up with this scheme to diversify the crops. Yes, they implemented Odisha Millet Mission so that diversification is possible, and through this diversification they created a climate resilience. Yes, scheme is there. And finally, they are using the technology, right? They are using crop weather watch group, and it is helpful to assess or to estimate the crop damages during the weather conditions such as cyclones and flood. So in this aspect, they can able to work on the losses and damages, and then they can rehabilitate the farmers. So livelihood point of view also, they worked on it. So now we have to know the reason why Odisha is able to succeed. So first, the proactive involvement of the government, that too through schemes such as Kaliya, Kurushek assistance for livelihood and income augmentation. And along with this scheme, they are including the digital aspect. So digital extension also increased the cultivation. So next they worked on the training aspect. The crop specific techniques training were given to the farmers. And apart from that, the farmers were given training in terms of integrated nutrition and pest management. And this also one of the major reason why there is an increase in productivity. Finally, they established the global collaboration with the World Food Program. So in this aspect, the government ensured the food security, livelihood and climate related resilience initiatives. Coming to the next article, yesterday the Prime Minister Narendra Modi commented on the recent Supreme Court verdict on abrogation of Article 370. So in that, he has commented that the recent verdict has strengthened the spirit of Ek Bharat and Shrestha Bharat. So from the context of this article, so we are going to discuss this scheme called Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat initiative. So prelims point of view, we can expect some direct question. Mains point of view, we can use this as a government's initiative for the promotion of unity in diversity. So coming to the scheme, so it is an initiative launched by the Government of India, that is central government, with the aim to promote unity, diversity and cultural exchange among the different states and union territories. It was launched in 2015 during 140th birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So apart from that, we have to know the objectives. So in this initiative, the government wanted to promote 5 major objectives in terms of art and culture. So promotion of cultural exchange and enhancing the understanding of cultures of different region, and then preserving the heritage and language promotion and tourism promotion. In order to implement these 5 objectives, the government in the initiative came up with some of the approaches by conducting language and literature festivals, and in that they promote the award winning books, poetry and folk song translation to other languages. So in this aspect, language promotion of language will be there, and apart from that, it also conduct cultural events to encourage the people to embrace the traditional attire of other states and union territories. In this aspect, the understanding of the cultural aspects of different region will get promoted, and then tourist promotion. So here they will come up with the Rajya Darshan programs. So in this aspect, they will promote tourism. So by promoting the tourism also, so the government will promote the promotion or protection of the heritages and increases the understanding of the cultural aspects of different region will also be there. So promoting the tourist activities itself will lead to the economical aspiration, that is tourist promotion on one side, and then on the other hand it will increases the understanding of the cultural aspects of other regions, and also the promotion of cultural exchange will also be possible. Next, we have an article related to the India's initiative in recent COP28 summit. So exam point of view, we can expect some prelims question with respect to National Mission for Clean Ganga, and also we can expect the question related to a program called Namami Ganga program, and also Global River Cities Alliance program as well. So these are the three areas we can expect prelims related questions. Apart from that, we have to know about the relation between the city and the river, that is one dimension, and then we have to know about the urban river and its role in climate change, how it impacts each other, that we have to know. So conceptually we have to know these two things apart from these three initiatives. Previously we had a question in 2015. The UPSC asked us to know about the Namami Ganga and then National Mission for Clean Ganga programs, and also they wanted to know how this program led to the incremental inputs in cleaning the Ganga. So this is what the question asked in 2015. We can also expect some similar question in the upcoming examination as well. So that's why we are discussing this article. So coming to the context, recently the institution named the National Mission for Clean Ganga that implements the program called the Namami Ganga program has launched a Global River Cities Alliance, right? So we are already having one institution for executing the Namami Ganga project. That is what we call it as National Mission for Clean Ganga. It is a name of an institution, right? It has launched a initiative called Global River Cities Alliance, UNFCCC meeting, that is COP28, that is happening in Dubai, right? This is the context of this article. So from this context, we have to know about what is meant by the alliance, and what are the facts and basic details in the National Mission for Clean Ganga, and also the details about the Namami Ganga program and how it is significant, that we have to know, right? Coming to the alliance, so we have 9 participants, 4 from Asia, 2 from Africa, 2 from Europe, and 1 from Australia. 3 continents, 9 countries. So we have India, Japan, Bhutan, and Cambodia from Asia, and then we are having Egypt and Ghana from Africa, and then we are having Denmark and Netherlands in Europe, and finally we are having Australia. So 9 members from 3 continents. So these are the participants. So Secretariat will be managed by National Mission for Clean Ganga. So already we are having an institution. This institution, India's institution, will be act as a secretariat under Jal Shakti Ministry, and it will be accompanied by another institute called National Institute for Urban Affairs. So both of the institutes will be served as a secretariat for this initiative. And the purpose of this initiative is to gain momentum in terms of knowledge exchange, capacity development, high-level advocacy, and bilateral interaction among the member cities. So here we have to understand few things. So India is aspiring to clean the Ganges river. So India is facing huge troubles, and we are aspiring to clean the river for so long. And the efficacy of the programs and the projects which we are undergoing is comparatively less. So still we are trying, and still we are not able to do that. Even after 70 years of independence, India is struggling to clean the polluted river, right? So in this aspect, the knowledge exchange and the capacity development and having high-level advocacy and then bilateral interaction between the nations by creating one alliance will help India to overcome the existing problem in cleaning the major rivers. So that we have to understand. Then next aspect, it is backed by major funding agencies such as World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. So which means this alliance will also help India to access to fund to clean the major rivers, right? So these two dimensions we have to understand from the significance point of view. So next we have to know about India's existing program called River Cities Alliance in India. So it is a joint initiative of several departments. So Department of Water Resource, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation under Ministry of Jal Shakti, and Urban Affairs Ministry is also there. So they wanted to connect the river cities and focus on sustainable river-centric development, right? So convergence of schemes and convergence of resource and the collaboration between the ministries are very much important and for the expected outcome. So that is the objective of this initiative. So as of now, around 142 river cities are included in this project. And the function of this alliance is that it serves as a platform for member cities to discuss and enhance the urban river management. Here, urban area plus river management. So two aspirations. So we have to know the relation between these two. First one is disaster point of view, that is flooding. Second aspect is economic point of view, that is tourism, waterways development, and finally we have to think from the environmental point of view, that is pollution, ecosystem, restoration. So we have to think from three dimensions. So especially connecting the urban with the river management, because so India itself facing problem of river water flooding in the urban cities. That is one aspect. So disaster point of view, we have to know that. And economic point of view, cleaning the major rivers will attract tourists. So aesthetical importance will get increased. In this aspect, revenue generation capacity is possible on one dimension. And then we can implement our aspiration project of developing national waterways, inland waterways, in the aspects of transportation. That is second dimension. And third dimension is environmental aspect. Yes, pollution is one major problem because most of the river stretches in the urban area is facing the problem of high pollution. So especially Yamuna river is facing a huge problem of pollution, especially because of the national capital territory. And apart from that, we have to think from the perspective of biodiversity, because ecosystem restoration is very important for the conservation of flora and fauna. For example, in the Ganges itself, we are having the Gangetic dolphin. It is highly vulnerable in nature. So for conservation of such faunal species itself need ecological restoration. So this urban and river water management has to be combined as a whole for three aspirations, right? Apart from that, we have to know the need for urban river water management and climate change, right? Why India proposed this alliance in the COP28? That we have to know. So first aspect is the pattern. So the river water pattern will get affected. Yes, because of the climate change, the pattern, the flow of pattern of river will get affected. In this aspect, we have to think from the perspective of sustaining the water needs of the city. So water needs. And second aspect, we have to think from the flooding. So as of now, because of the climate change, the impact on the river led to the flooding into the urban areas. So those two aspects we have to relate. That's why India purposefully launched this initiative in the COP28. So we have to think from the relation of urban river water management with the climate change perspective. Coming to the next aspect, we have to know about the institution, National Mission for Clean Ganga. So it is an institution registered as a society. Yes, it is a society created on 24th August 2011 under Societies Registration Act, right? institution was created in 2011, acted as an implementation arm of National Ganga River Basin Authority. So this was constituted under the provision of Environmental Protection Act 1986. So National Ganga River Basin Authority is a statutory body, right? So within this statutory body, we created another institution to implement the Namami Ganga program. So this is the objective of National Mission for Clean Ganga. So as an additional fact, in 2016, this existing institute of National Ganga River Basin Authority was reconstituted as National Council for Rejuvenation, Protection, Management of River Ganga, referred as National Ganga Council under EPA Act 1986. So first dimension, we have to know that we are having one statutory body under EPA Act 1986, and it was reconstituted as another body called the National Ganga Council in 2016. And within that, we are having one implementation arm called the National Mission for Clean Ganga, and that was instituted in 2011. So these are the basic details we have to know from the exam point of view. Apart from that, Namami Ganga program, so it is a aspirational flagship program initiated in 2014 with the budget outlay of 20,000. The budget itself, the volume of the resource which we are allocating itself show the significance or the importance given to this project by the government is understood, right? So the objective is to effectively abatement of the pollution, conservation, rejuvenation of national river Ganga, right? So we have to rejuvenate the river in terms of environmental perspective. That is the objective, because it is highly polluted. The quality is degraded day by day. So we have to work on the quality of the river water. So that is the objective. So it works on some major principles. So sewage treatment infrastructure, by bringing sewage treatment infrastructure, we are going to reduce the pollution. And also by bringing strict industrial effluent monitoring, because the effluent discharge and then sewage discharge into the river is creating the major pollutant sources. And apart from that, it wanted us to develop riverfront development, and then wanted to clean the river surface debris, and also it wanted to include the ideas of biodiversity, afforestation, and creating public awareness. And finally, they wanted to develop sustainable villages on the border areas of river. So those things are major pillars of this program. So creating infrastructure, monitoring mechanism, creating awareness, sustainable development of the villages, and then aspects of environment, biodiversity conservation, and afforestation. Now let's try some of the prelims practice question. So coming to the first question, so Article 370 is included under Part 21 of the Constitution. Yes, it is right. Kashmir was acceded to the Dominion of India in 1947, which was accepted by Lord Mountbatten. Yes, it is also correct. Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019 has divided Jammu and Kashmir state into 2 union territories. Yes, this is also right. So all 3 statements are correct. So option is Delhi. Yes, option D is correct. Coming to the second question, which of the following are sustainable agricultural practices? Yes, mixed cropping is right. Crop rotation is also a sustainable agricultural practice. Crop diversification also a sustainable practice. And integrated farming is also sustainable practice. So all the above is option D is right. Yes, D is correct. Third question. With reference to the Global River Cities Alliance, consider the following statements. Global River Cities Alliance is inspired by India's River Cities Alliance. Yes, it is true. So in this alliance, we have 142 cities implemented by 2 ministries, Jal Shakti Ministry and Urban Affairs Ministry. National Mission for Clean Ganga and National Institute for Urban Affairs will serve as the secretariat for the GRCA Alliance. Yes, this is also correct. Both the statements are correct. So option C, both 1 and 2. Yes, answer C is correct. Next question. Consider the following statements. The Financial Stability Board is an international body working in the field of global financial stability. Yes, it is true. It is proposed by G20 in 2009. Yes, the first statement is correct. Second statement, the Multifunction Crypto Asset Intermediaries, MCI, combines broad range of crypto asset products and services to be operated upon trading platform. Yes, second statement is also correct. So option C. Yes, answer C is correct. So fifth question, Article 370 of Indian Constitution granted special autonomy. Yes, it is true, to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. First statement is right. The abrogation of Article 370 was facilitated by the passage of Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019. Yes, second statement is also right. And Article 35A, which was conferred special rights and privileges to the residents of Jammu and Kashmir, was also simultaneously abrogated with the revocation of Article 370. Yes, third statement is also correct. So option is C, all three. Yes, option C is correct. Now let's try one mains practice question. Critically analyze the implications of Supreme Court's verdict on abrogation of Article 370. So for this question, we have to write an answer for 150 words that constitute 10 marks. So in the introduction, we can start with the historical context of Article 370 and also highlight its special provisions and also introduce the recent Supreme Court verdict on the abrogation of Article 370. And in the body part, we can include the idea of implementation of full integration. How this current verdict will help the India in integrating the Jammu and Kashmir to the rest of the India. So that we can discuss, and also we can discuss the aspects of development perspectives, how this full integration will help India for the socio-economic development of Jammu and Kashmir, and also how it will impact on security perspective, and also most importantly we have to discuss the impact on federal structure, because existing provision, the federal spirit was little disturbed because of this the current verdict, because it upheld the center's intervention to convert the state into an union territory. So still there is a question mark that we can highlight as an implication, and also we can include the aspects of judicial interpretations on constitutional mandates. So that is also a possible area that we have to discuss. So finally, as a conclusion, what we can do is we can emphasize the role of democracy. We have to bring a legislature, full-fledged state heads to the Jammu and Kashmir, and also we have to work on the developmental aspects, and also we have to strengthen the defense aspect for the security reasons. So here finally what we can do is we can highlight the democracy, development and defense for the peaceful integration of Jammu and Kashmir with the rest of India. So that's the end of this session. Thanks for watching. Do like, share and comment the video, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you.